Today's vlog features story time. Do you remember when you were 16? Maybe you still are. Maybe you're not even 16 yet. You have this feeling that nothing can touch you. You can do anything and you're indestructible. For me, that's when I was told I was already broken.
So here's what happened. I was 16 years old. I just got done playing a Gus Macker 3-on-3 basketball tournament, one of my favorite things in the world. Got done, got into my parents' van to go on a trip out west, and pop went my back. And I'd never felt anything like that before, so I didn't really have any context for what this was. It was sore for the whole trip, like it was hard to sit in the car, but I didn't really think anything of it because, you know, I just got temporarily injured or something. Weeks went on and it didn't get better. So finally went to my doctor. He referred me to a spine specialist who then got me an MRI. The MRI showed a herniated disc at L5-S1. So I didn't know what that meant, if it was a big deal, but I could tell my mom knew because she looked. So we discussed with my doctor treatment options. I was not a candidate for surgery because I was so young. I did physical therapy, I did acupuncture, I did massage, I did medical massage, I did chiropractic, and then finally cortisone shots. And none of that helped. Anything that anyone recommended to me, I tried it. I went as far as conventional modern wisdom would take me. And I was desperate for a fix because this hurt really bad every day. And what the doctor told me was I could finish high school sports, but I should really tone it down and limit my sports and activities after that. But that was devastating to me because like sports was who I am. That's like my favorite thing to do. I was just crushed. That's why every time I tried physical therapy or anything, I gave it my all. Nothing would fix it. I had multiple cortisone shots. This went on for a decade. Every morning that I woke up for that 10 or 12 years, my back hurt. I'd wake up and stretch or try to go for a walk. I had chronic pain all the time, and 1 to 10, what was the pain? It was always a 4 or a 5. Like, it was ruining my life. So not only would it hurt chronically, like in the morning and then throughout the day, I would have these crazy acute episodes too, and then it all came to a head when we were pregnant with Colin. I don't remember how far along, but I had an episode of pain. I couldn't stand up. I was crawling around, crawling to the bathroom, couldn't get off the floor. We ended up going to the ER. I was on crutches, like I'd get from the house to the van on crutches and then lay down in the van. Got to the hospital, again, went in on crutches. I couldn't believe this was my life. I was like 28 years old. I had done everything that was asked of me. Done the stretches, become flexible, had the strongest core known to man because that's supposedly the fix. And this thing was only going to get worse. I wasn't going to be able to do the things that I loved. And now I'm faced with, how am I going to be a dad? How am I going to help my wife out? I was like at an all-time low. I remember crying that night out of anger, sadness, frustration. It was rough. That night was basically rock bottom. Like, I didn't know how to come to terms with the fact that my life was going to be this way. When I got done crying, I got on the internet. There had to be something I was missing, something more. I stumbled across a book. It was on Amazon. It's called Healing Back Pain, The Mind-Body Connection, and I'll link it below. And there was like 1,400 reviews, and it had like 4.5 stars. And I kept reading people's accounts of having read the book. And it was people just like me. Diagnoses of herniated disc, degenerative disc disease, all of this stuff. And in more conditions too, beyond just the back, but those were the ones that spoke to me. And they said they'd read the book, and their back pain was gone. I was 1,000,000,000% skeptical, but at that point, it didn't matter. I didn't care. It was $14, and it was going to take some of my time. I read it, and it's written by a doctor, a medical doctor, who has a practice, and he got fed up with a colossal failure rate of treating people's pain. And you could talk to probably any doctor who treats pain, and they'll tell you the same thing. Treating pain is not a slam dunk by any means. So anyway, he told stories of when he changed how he treated people, and the people that came to see him, what their lives were like, what their pain was like, what treatment was like, and how they ultimately got out of pain. And those people's stories, those felt like my stories. So when I'm reading it, I thought, yep, okay, yeah. But at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm reading this book, so then what do? I finished the book, and I still was thinking, man, that all makes perfect sense. I get it. What am I supposed to do? I kid you not, the next morning, and mind you, I woke up every morning with back pain. The next morning, after having finished the book, zero pain. I was still skeptical. Must be a fluke, even though it's never happened before. Days went by, weeks went by, no pain. That book, if you have some kind of chronic pain, whether it's your back or neck or a myriad of other things, or you know somebody that does, I'm telling you, it sounds crazy, and I thought so at the time too. That thing worked for me. I had my life back. I started doing things again. I started playing basketball, riding my bike, lifting with my back, ignoring all of what I was told. And that has transcended into how I view life. When I did everything that traditional medicine told me, and it all failed miserably and had a ton of risk and potential side effects, and then I did something different and it worked. Not to say that's always going to be the case, but that experience led me to the way I live my life now, which is to question everything. Whatever the status quo is, I'm going to try something else first. It's been like 6 or 8 years now, and I've never looked back. So this is a book I've recommended to a few people. I know it sounds crazy. It still sounds crazy to me. But give it a chance. Like, what do you have to lose? That was my mentality. And if you've tried everything and it just hasn't done the job for you, give it a shot. So again, the book is called Healing Back Pain, The Mind-Body Connection. It's by John Sarno, MD. Link again is below. Questions, your experiences, share them below. I'd be happy to try to help in any way that I can. I don't want to talk too much about the concepts in the book because I think there's a greater value in actually reading it versus me paraphrasing what I think I understand. But I'll definitely revisit and come back to this if there's questions or comments specifically. So for those of you that maybe have not been through any kind of chronic situation, pain or otherwise, there's like nothing I could say that gives proper weight to what it's like to live through that, to go through that, especially not knowing if there's ever going to be an end. If you have been through it or you're going through it now, you might be like me at that point where you'd be willing to try anything, and a book can't hurt anything. Steroid shots, those have risks. Surgery, that has risk. I just know what a difference it made for me. Again, I encourage you, read the book, ask me questions, be willing to throw some of what you've been told aside. For me, that was the key to healing. Okay, said enough about the book. I'll probably touch on it again. I hope you enjoyed Storytime. Tomorrow we'll be back to the regularly scheduled vlog. I'll see you then. cinnamon.
Morning weigh-in 176.6, 10.6% body fat.
Which is leftover lamb, a bell pepper, and LaCroix. I usually set a rule to not eat lunch at my desk. But today I've got a field trip with Colin, so I'm finishing up what I need to here in the office. So I'm on a tight schedule, but I don't normally do that. Afternoon snack, cashews, almonds, and raisins. Dinner is chicken bowl from Chipotle and a LaCroix. Double chicken, fajita veggies, salsa, guacamole, in support of my wife's school's PTO. Dessert, almond butter and apple slices. Well, except for those two.